Council members and staff, thank you very much for having us here this evening. We're looking forward to it, and I'm going to set a land speed record here for getting through this. A lot of data, a lot of stuff that we produced on this survey. With all the input that Jan talked about from the community, it was really quite good. Their input was helpful and really helped design a survey that was more actionable and more, instead of just interesting statistics that might be interesting to know, things that we can do things with. The survey lasted between 9 and 10 minutes on average. Some people might have taken longer if they were very interested and had a lot to say. Other people might have been more brief. But all of them were Oro Valley residents. They were required to be. We asked that question right up front. If they were not, that was thank you very much, good evening, we won't bother you anymore. The enhanced random selection process meant that we just didn't talk to whoever answered the phone. We randomized all the calls. The calls were made in a random basis to begin with. But once we got the household, we asked them who in the home 18 years of age and older last celebrated a birthday, and that was the person we attempted to interview on that very first attempt, and would call back if we could not get that person immediately, because that's the way you try to create a random selection process. And this does really result in a better, more projectable distribution of surveys than just talking to whoever answers the phone, even though that would be the simplest and easiest thing to do. This survey is very representative of the community, and you'll see that in a moment in a slide coming up in a moment here. But one thing we did in addition to this design was we wanted to make sure that the survey was going to be clear, it was going to be understood, and that we were going to be implementing a survey that's going to give us good results. And how we do that is pre-test it. We pre-tested. We actually did surveys with real folks in Oro Valley, and what we did, our interviewers, a wide number of interviewers, probably 8 to 10 interviewers, actually critiqued the survey. They did a survey about the survey, asking them, what did people understand the questions? Did you have to repeat questions? Were they unclear? Did they upset people? They didn't want to answer? Were there survey questions that people enjoyed answering? And well, based on those results, we made the final changes to the instrument to get it into the field. The ultimate survey, the ultimate in tab, at the end was a little over 300 completed interviews. They were, as I said, randomly selected, highly representative. Representative sample is what you want to accomplish in any survey instrument, and equal probability of selection, and that's what we did. And it was administered in early September of this year. The 2002 phone survey was used as a baseline, as Jan mentioned, and were in fact the first 3 questions. Other questions also were trended, but there was a lot from the committee particularly said, you know, we don't really need to know this anymore, we need to know some other things. So other changes were made in the instrument on that input. The respondents, we thought, gave, and you're going to see some answers up here when I go through this relatively fast, but hopefully you'll see what I'm talking about. Very thoughtful answers that are reflective of values and fiscal responsibility. They understood what we were asking about, because I can tell you that confidently, because you can see they gave us different answers. It wasn't what's called a response set, where the people just say, oh yeah, that, oh yeah, that, you know, just giving you the same answer because it's simple to do. The results are statistically projectable at a 95% confidence level, plus or minus 5.7% margin of error at the most conservative basis. That is a very solid survey sample. And I want to get into the results here. The thing I was going to talk about, we